Hi, it's Mitch from PickDogs.com, and it is Saturday, March 18th, 2023, second round of the NCAA tournament. Of course, live show 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No excuses, just free picks. I've been on the road, so I've been off and on this show, but I'm on today, and we've got a full house with us. Jay, Chris, Wayne, Jovan, Al Ninos, Ron Romanelli, definitely all going to be on the show. If anyone else stops in, well, we'll have them as well. Chris Ruffalo feeling under the weather. We're going to bring him in first. Chris, how mad has March been? I don't want to I think the Fairleigh Dickinson story has been probably covered by everybody else up and down. So that means that we're going to do the exact opposite and not talk about who's looked the best.
Oh boy, yeah,
for the first round, because we saw Kansas, blow Howard out of the gym. We saw UCLA, have their way with Asheville. But we're talking about fairly light competition for those teams. We had other teams like, Penn State got it out against A&M, but A&M, it looked like the A&M team that we saw play out of conference earlier this season that had the slow start. So, does that have anything to do with it? We saw a lot of good teams there, and I see a few under the radars, but I love my Canes. We're going to the Final Four. What do you think?
At least the one that stood out to me was Duke. They looked really good. They carried it. They finished the season strong. I wasn't necessarily a believer. I thought this was still a young team that would probably show a lot of inexperience, in their first, actual NCAA tournament game, and they just looked like a team that had absolutely been there before. Held Oral Roberts, a pretty good Oral Roberts offense, to 0 for 13 for their first 13 shots. And, it's not easy to do. So it's hard to win basketball games when you miss your first 13 shots. So,
well, he's scheduled. He's going to come on later on, but I want to bring in our Carolina basketball expert, Wayne Scott, and to ask him a quick question about this one. Wayne, do you think Duke is going to be a little bit concerned about getting the right calls from the officials in this tournament? Because they always get screwed, right?
Yeah, they'll be all right, man.
I think they'll be okay. All right, we'll see in a little bit. I just want to see what you thought of that. What do they think of that in the region? Like the way that Duke seems to always get the call when they need it.
Hey man, we got a lot of Dukies out here, so we pretty much love it, man. For real, if we can get those calls, and hey, we'll take them, man. We want to win the right way, but if we get them, hey, it is what it is, man. Just hope that you're on that side when you get those calls.
The thing that we can't deny is that when they're given that opportunity, they always take advantage of it. It's not like they get the chance, and we see, we saw some bad calls in yesterday's games. The guys get the technical or whatever, and they take the free throw, and it's just, brick city. So, Duke always seems. What's the guy's name, man? The guy that looks like Damien from the Omen movies that used to trip all the people. He's in Grayson Allen, right? Grayson. Yeah, I mean, they have a guy like that shooting free throws. Like, never. I don't think I've ever seen him miss one. Anyways, Wayne, we'll see you in a little bit. Chris, what do you think about that Damien analogy from the Omen movies?
The older pretty good. All you had to say was Duke guy that used to trip people. I knew immediately it was Grayson Allen. You could have said that.
Anyways,
could use a word that would probably get us flagged.
We got a lot of action going on today. What are you looking at?
The one I'm looking at is that matchup. You mentioned Kansas and how they beat up Howard. I don't know if they're going to have the same luck here today against Arkansas. I like the Razorbacks plus the points. Those could potentially be the return of Bill Self to the Kansas sideline, but I really like this Razorbacks team. I liked them since Nick Smith Jr. came back into the lineup. I think this is a high upside team. I've said, I said during the videos for the Arkansas games that if Nick Smith and even if Trevon Brazile stayed healthy, for the entire season, this could be an Arkansas team that I think we could be talking about as maybe a top 3 seed at the NCAA tournament. I think they are that good. I think they are that well-rounded. Kansas, they have a solid team with Jalen Wilson, Grady Dick, Kevin McCullough Jr. But there's just nothing that's really stood out about this Kansas team for me. 147th in three-point percentage. They're sort of middle of the pack in free throw percentage. They have a pretty good defense, but I just think this is going to be a tight game throughout. I think I've really been impressed with what I've seen from Arkansas down the stretch. And like I said, I think this is a 3-point game. I think we're still getting 3.5. At least that's what I was seeing. Even if the line is dropped, I still think it's a game that comes down to who gets the last shot. So give me Arkansas plus the points.
Before the season started, I had Arkansas in my Final Four for the tournament, and I still believe that they have a team that could go there. Kansas, if they're going to go there, Kansas is the team that they have to go through anyway. So whether they play them here in the round of 32, but so when you look at seeding, right, and Kansas as a number 1 seed in the region, and they draw Arkansas as game number 2, right? It's not like they reseed,
Yeah.
So like Alabama's considered the number 1 overall seed. Purdue was a number 1 seed, and Florida Atlantic versus Fairleigh Dickinson. Meanwhile, you have Kansas, Arkansas over here. It's not like they reseed. So when all season long, I talk about when people talk about the bracket and when they're making the bracket, I always say the seeding only matters in the first round, because once you get through that, everybody's good. And I think this game is one of those games. And I don't know if you want to lay points against the Hogs, because even if they go down, they're not going to, just walk away. They're not going to say, all right, you beat us. And they're stacked. Musselman is, he's one of the top 5 recruiters. He has to be. Look at, I don't know how he does it. Well, they probably have a little bit of image licensing slush fund going on over there. I don't know one way or another, but they must, right? Because it's okay. It's not like it's a bad thing anymore. It's acceptable. Also, I've been misquoting that Florida quarterback salary that he was getting, the high school quarterback that never played it down in college football. The Florida offer was not $21 million. It was only $13 million. So I was wrong. $13 million for a high school senior. Anyways, Chris, what's your $13 million package today you're selling?
Well, just quickly, I wanted to add that, I think that you talked about Nick Smith. He's a lottery pick. I think he could easily just mailed it in and said, I'm going to just sit out the rest of the season and, just focus on getting myself healthy for the draft, but decided to come back, and the team's been better for it since. But, for me today, I've got a couple things on the board. Got a college hoops 3-pack that kicks off with the 11 a.m. game as my one of my CBI games in that 3-pack, as well as an NIT game and an NCAA tournament game. Also got my $50 NBA slam dunk and a 3-pack for hoops and hockey tonight. 2 NBA plays and an NHL play. Best value, though, going long term to get all the plays today. And then some more college hoops and NBA and NHL for the rest of the week.
All right. Thanks, Chris. And we will see you tomorrow. Hopefully you feel better.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Chris Ruffalo. Up next, Al Niños. Al, what's happening? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. All right. That was Al Niños. Wayne, what's happening?
Yes, sir. What's up? What's going on, Mitch?
Didn't expect to have you back this soon, but nothing wrong with it. It's like, so, no North Carolina in the tournament. Asheville got shellacked.
I definitely wish I was I was zoned in on the USC LA. I just
that was
took
my
too much in that.
Top play of the tournament.
Too much into them missing them players, man. I just thought
but that was also
those
were your guys. High Point,
You're right.
Presbyterian, Charleston Southern. That was the schedule that they had played getting in.
When you said that, it all made sense. Too bad it was after the game for me, but
yeah, but it's like imagine if you put Ole Miss against that schedule, they would have been in too.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, they definitely have enough talent, at least come out of that conference and with a winning record, I hope. maybe not make the tournament, but hopefully they'll at least have a winning record.
Who's the team that impressed you the most in the first round? I thought Bama was pretty good. Also, I'm naming
Words
everybody.
right out of my mouth, man. Bama, man. A lot of these SEC teams, man. I was in them on them pretty early, and they exceeded expectations. Arkansas, they came out, they whooped some butt, and I'm kind of with Chris leaning towards them on against Kansas today. And yeah, Bama and Arkansas, two SEC teams that came in. I know they got a lot of talent, but for them to come in and smack around teams they play like that, you got to take note of that.
Yeah, I think that I think Bama's got just a different matchup today. And once again, it's that number one overall seed, but now you're playing Maryland in the second round, who, has beaten some pretty good teams. They beat us in Miami. So, we know that they can beat some heavy hitters, Final Four. They can beat a Final Four caliber team because they beat us.
Northwestern and Maryland is the only teams that I pretty much back in the Big Ten. Everybody else I kind of just watch, but I love the way those two teams are built. And I had a question for you, Mitch. I know you're the host, but what you think about that FAU Memphis game, man? I got a lot of people in Florida, and I got a friend who loves FAU's coach. So I just want to hear your opinion about that.
I thought it was one of the more exciting games of the entire tournament, and I think, once again, Penny Hardaway is probably going to take some pretty big heat on the way that game went down. It's funny because arguably it was the same play that Tony Bennett's team made. So, Tony Bennett has the ring, though. So it's, he's not going to take the heat. But I think Tony Bennett's team, you kind of less expected from, and it was kind of, but it was the exact same play. And, I just think that, Florida Atlantic's kind of been underestimated all season. We talked about it on our live show yesterday, that they were 2-point dogs in their conference tournament final, and they were 30-3 going into the game. I mean, they're 32-3. We all know that, it's impossible to win them all. And no matter what conference you play in, what division you play in, it's impossible to win them all. And it's like, here's a team that just continues to win and defy the odds and do all those things. And, they have an athletic team, and, here they have Fairleigh Dickinson now in front of them. So, I mean, you get through this, and now it's like you're 2 games away from being in the Final Four,
It's definitely looking a little smooth on their side right now. Like you said, if they can get past this Fairleigh Dickinson.
It just takes a run like that. Amazingly enough, that 3 of the play-in teams, played extremely well. 2 of them advanced. Pitt and FDU, but Arizona State also had TCU on the ropes as well. So, I mean, we've seen the play-in teams do this many times. UCLA went to the Final Four out of the play-in 2 years ago. Shaka Smart took VCU to the Final Four out of the play-in. It happens. But
one thing it's hard.
I think Florida Atlantic. I mean, that when they got I think the timeout and the not timeout and all that stuff is all bull crap anyway, man. That's part of the bad part of the game to me, is being able to call the timeout in this spot, and anybody can call it anywhere. It's like, if you're going to be able to, that anyone can call it, then you need that many referees to look at every single person at the same time. It's like, you expect that to fly. I don't know. It's one of those things, Penny's going to take the heat, and the same thing in Virginia, the guy was crying, but what about the other 39 minutes and 58 seconds, that you had to put these guys away?
Exactly. I got to put my coach's hat on and agree with you on that, man. It's the whole game. You can't. A lot of times we like to point out one play or one ref call, but you got the whole game to win a game. So, I
mean, Memphis in that game got a miserable charge call against FAU just a couple of seconds prior to that, and a miserable one. And same thing in the Miami Drake game, just a miserable call on a charge. And then no calls, where Wong's getting crushed, trying to go in there. It's like, basically aggravated assault, man. I mean, going on in this tournament, they're putting the whistles in the pocket.
Yeah, they're letting them play. Definitely letting them play.
They're letting them play, man. Well, what do you got going on today?
Well, I'm going to go to the NBA, the 7:00 game where we got the Sixers taking on the Pacers. We've seen these teams play not too long ago on March 6th, and that was part of the Sixers 7-game winning streak. They beat the Pacers 147 to 143 on the road, and they face them again today on the road. This game right here, Sixers are coming in healthy. They're missing, maybe missing Jalen Daniels. But what I'm taking note of is the Pacers, man. They're sitting Duarte, they're sitting Halliburton, they're sitting Benedict Mathurin. These are players that help them cover. They help them not only win, but help them cover. In that game that I mentioned on March 6th, them 3 players combined for 57 points and 21 assists. So that's a lot of production missing. Outside of them missing this production, man, I just can't go against Embiid right now. We talk about him being MVP, but outside of that, as a team, these guys are playing good. Great on offense, great on defense, not turning the ball away. They shoot foul shots, great. These are all things that's going to help them contribute to covering this game. And another thing I got to point out, they're first in three-pointer, while Pacers are 27th in three-point defense, so I expect them to get lit up. 10-point win in this game, and I'm on Sixers, -6 in here. Keep it short. I think Pacers have no chance of covering this game. They're just sitting way too many players. I know they won their last game out against the Bucks, but just not enough.
Yeah, the Sixers are there's home wreckers. I mean, they want it, you know.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Playing like they want it. And it's like that's always scary when you have a guy like Embiid. You know, I mentioned it weeks ago when there was that fight against Memphis. You know, the guys were like pushing and shoving and, you know, yelling at each other and all that stuff. And Embiid walked over and everyone just ran to the other side, man. They didn't have no part of it. And the thing is, he's not like Shaq size, you know? Yeah. He's not like that, man. But he just must be one tough badass, man. It's like they did not want anything to do with him, man.
The one thing that I admire from Embiid, man, is his footwork. You don't see too many 7'2" people with clean footwork like that, man. It's actually kind of beautiful when he does his low post moves down there. It's scary to see that he can play like that.
He can hit the outside shot, but he doesn't have to take a million of them because he can hit it, you know? It's like if he absolutely has to, if they absolutely need it, he will take it. But it's not like he feels like, all right, I hit one, so now I got, you know, fool's gold, and I'm going to just keep shooting threes all of a sudden instead of taking my easy baskets, you know, my dunks and everything else that he does, which is pretty much everything. He has like a complete game like Durant.
No, yeah, you're right, man. I think we're witnessing something special, and something Randolph does that a lot. What you just said that he doesn't do, he'll hit a 3, and then next thing you know, he thinks he's Curry. So I think Randolph needs to watch Embiid hit 1 3 and go back in the post.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, the thing is that he's okay to take those shots. He's also okay to do the dirty work. He's not afraid to do the left because he wants it, right?
Yes, sir.
He plays like he wants it. It's like, you know, I talked about it most of the season. I thought he was the MVP all along. It's like, I think he's the best player right now. At least this year he has been. Because, you know, I'm not a Sixers guy or any of these things, but this team is going to be a very tough out.
Got to give respect where it's due, man, and they starting to earn it. They definitely had to take it.
We hammer the guys when they underperform and walk through it, you know, or, you know, kind of like, you know, Kawhi. We love it when he plays, but it's like, you know, he looks for any excuse not to, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What do you got going on at Pick Dogs today?
On the Pick Dog site, I got my game of the day up there in the NBA. That is an underdog, so I got my Cujo Big Dog play on there, and I got a 5-pack today, 6 plays all together, and I do have them all for sale. So I got my NBA individual out, and then I got a 5-pack. I'm on all underdogs today, so I got 2 underdog money lines in there for college basketball, and everybody that I'm on ATS wise is an underdog. So I'm out there biting today.
All right, Wayne. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Mitch. You take care. You have a good one, Pick Dogs family.
That was Wayne. I cut him off there. Sorry, Wayne. We got Al Nino's back again. Al, You all good now?
Yeah, I hope you can hear me. I have no idea what was going on. I was not muted or anything, so must have been some technical issue.
All right, Alf. So what do you got? What's shaking for you? I know you're not a college hoops guy, but
Hey, getting into it though.
well, everyone gets into it in March, but it's kind of like the it's also playoff time for NBA. This is where it's all decided. We have in the Western Conference, really, nothing has been decided at the bottom of the playoff race, all the way through to maybe, the 5-6, right? I mean, all these things are up for grabs. You could be 5-6, you could be all the way out. The Eastern Conference, the bottom has gotten interesting there too, in that 9, 10, 11, 12 area as well. So what do you think? How do you think it's going to shake out? It seems that, this is where we start talking about the loss column, where teams control their own destiny in the loss column. In the win column, you win, you're good, right? But in the loss column, you can't make another team lose unless you actually beat them head to head. So there's nothing you can do about it if you trail them there.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, I know I was on the Warriors, who are actually in this rematch today. They were in a really important spot against the Grizzlies not too long ago. Another road spot we saw them drop when I think they were just 2 games behind the Grizzlies then, and had a real chance to turn that around there in the standings, and really laid an egg in that one. But yeah, I said every game still matters here. It's you see the Nuggets look like they took their foot off the gas already, and it's way too soon to be doing any of that. I think you may have clinched something, but you're still fighting for the best position you can get. Home court is really important, especially for a team like the Nuggets. And so I still think we still got a lot of good basketball to be played this season.
All right, well, what do you got for everyone today?
Today, one of the more surprising lines, and the more I look at it, the more it's growing on me, honestly. I think this one definitely should have been a premium play. You just mentioned Kawhi finding any excuse to sit out. Well, being on the first leg of a back-to-back was definitely a good enough excuse for him to sit this one out. And the Clippers still laying more than 2 possessions here is hard for me to understand. The Magic have been a pretty good team. They've done well on the road. They're 18, 13, and 1 against the spread as road dogs. The Clippers are not particularly good, just around average as home favorites. And without one of their 2 best players, I just think they're laying way too many points here. So I'm on the Magic. Again, you can break it down, but I'm on the Magic full game here. But you can break it down and take them first quarter and first half as well. I think they keep this game competitive throughout.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on this one. I like the Magic as well with the points. I just think I don't know if they win or not, but this is kind of like the type of games that we've seen the Magic and the type of numbers that we've seen them have a lot of success in. It just seems that when they start to cover a lot of spreads, the public gets on, the lines get a little closer, games like this. But getting a touchdown against the Clippers, just seems logical, because the Clippers more of a defensive style, so lower scoring games too. So 7 points is a little more meaningful.
Definitely without one of their best sources of offense too, so it's hard to see them cover this big number really in the spot. I mean, got a lot of action today, but if I didn't have that much action, this definitely would have been up there with the premiums, I think. Yeah, I like this play a lot.
All right, well, what do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs?
A lot of action. Got a 3-pack in the NBA, 3-pack in the NHL. Got a 3-pack with my best bet in the NBA, NHL, and college basketball, and my $15 best bet in the NBA as well. There's a couple extra plays for everyone, the long-term and 2-for-1 capper specials.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was Al Ninos. We go to anyone who needs to go next. Go random, because I know Jay Briggs not feeling it today. We'll bring him in. Everyone's like March Madness. He's got girlfriend's birthday March Madness going on. Normally we have Jay a little later in the show, but I think he might be better served by some rest. And how's it going, Jay?
What's going on, Mitch? Nothing much, man.
You got your horns are alive and kicking going today. My Canes are in there. You know, it's like it's March Madness. The cream rising to the top. You know,
it's March Madness. We'll see if Texas can keep it rolling. Penn State, they got hot from the 3-point in their last one, but
here, you know, a few things. You know, there's a few different factors. The game that the team that Texas beat in the first round is the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country, and
exactly
Texas A&M, when they played out of conference before they got into conference play, they got their ass kicked by everybody. So, you know, which one is it? You know,
exactly. We'll see. You know, we've seen a lot of madness already, so
yeah, we will.
Never pass anybody,
and I'm sure we'll see plenty more
for sure.
But what do you got cooking for everybody today?
Today, I'm gonna cook up some NBA. I'm gonna go out to the first game on the board. I won't be able to put this one on the late afternoon jam session video, so we'll talk about it here. We got the Nuggets, man. They've been struggling. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They did bounce back in their last one and beat up on the Pistons. It wasn't pretty. They did win by 19, but trust me, it wasn't pretty. It took the full game to cover that line. They did pull off in the end and win that game. The Knicks, they have won back-to-back games as well on the road where they played their best basketball this season. They returned home in this one where, for some odd reason, the Knicks have not played their best basketball in Madison Square Garden. The Knicks did beat the Nuggets in their long meeting this season, though, on the 16th of November, way early in the season, but they did go into Denver and win that basketball game. I love the Nuggets working with revenge here in this spot. I think they bounce back, get back to the Nuggets that we know, and go into New York and win this basketball game. The Knicks, we're going to see them in the playoffs this season. They're in the midst of one of the best seasons I've seen from them in a while. I just don't think today they have enough to compete with this Nuggets team. That the reason I was fading them here recently, they were kind of in a no man's land spot. They were kind of just going through the motions with the number 1 seed locked up. Now I think they're about to come out of the funk. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They bounced back in their last one. I think the momentum kind of carries forward into this one. I think they go into New York early in the day and get this one done. I'll let it too.
I like the Nuggets, but I mean, they have been so bad lately. So, you know, sometimes, you know, it's the NBA, right? It's like when the teams are playing bad, that's when you kind of want to bet them.
Exactly.
I can see it. You know, the Knicks certainly have been a force, and their home play has been a lot better than it was early in the season. I think the Knicks are a team that probably could go to the conference finals or get knocked out in the first round. You know, kind of like they didn't lose in the first round last time against the Hawks. Was it the first round or the second round?
It was first round, I believe. I think it was first.
I mean,
as long as the Hawks went beat. Who the Hawks?
They see Trae Young again. It's like, you know, they got no answer for that. So, at least they didn't then.
Yeah,
they tried everything. It was just like.
Yes, sir. It should be a good one to start out the day. That's a great game in the NBA to start out the day in the midst of all the college hoops.
It is, and you know, it's also a game that probably flies under the radar for a lot of people as well. Kind of like that Hawks Warriors gift.
That was a great game last night. That was a great game. I had the Hawks in that one. Love to see them come.
Yeah, gift, and it's like kind of just flew right under the radar because of the March Madness. It's like sits there at 1.5 against a team that's won like one road game in the last year and a half. You know?
No, facts.
It's like, yeah, we'll also just sit everybody too, just to make sure. It's like the line moves like 2 points. It's like,
yeah,
Steph Curry's worth 2 points. It's like, what? What are you talking about? He's like 10.
Warriors, most night and day team in the NBA. Money at home, on the road, they're almost a straight fade. I will say, watch out for them today, though, in a revenge.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, you get into April, yeah, I'm not going against the Warriors against anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going
to wake up soon. It's just when does it happen, you know?
It's when it counts for those guys. That's when they usually wake up.
Exactly. And we know they can. Hey, this is, you know, the Warriors we're talking about.
So you got your jam session pick today. Anything else or just the jam session pick?
I got 3 in the NBA today, and I have a few college hoops as well. So probably a 3-pack in the NBA, 3-pack in college hoops with the jam session play will be included in that 3-pack in the NBA. Hit yesterday with the Hawks. Want to keep the momentum rolling forward. In the middle of a great week in the NBA. Want to try to keep the momentum rolling forward.
All right, Jay. We'll get some sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes,
get some sleep and then get up and watch your Horns.
Yeah, I'll watch
Sure,
my
we'll
horns,
watch
and
it.
I'll see y'all this evening. I'll be alive. I think my guy Chris Ruffalo coming on with me today. 3
right.
p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. So we'll run through the card one more time, drop a parlay at the end of it. So join me there with my guy Chris. Mitch,
All
you're
right.
coming on soon, guys. Mitch will be
I
on
am. I'll be on next week. I'll be on next week for sure.
for sure.
Jay Briggs, tell you, in the Vegas sports books, between him and Romanelli, it's like, you know, us other guys, they could care less about us. That's okay. Anyways, bring in Big Al. He's usually ready to go at this point. A little lighter card than you're used to going over. You know, is it shell shock or you got the old school Spurs hat on there?
Yeah, from 1979.
Yeah, I know the style of hat. I used to have a Dolphins hat like that.
Yeah, it's you know, I'm actually kind of enjoying the you know, the lack of 150 college basketball games on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's nice, you know, but the quality of games has been really good from a fan's perspective and from a bettor's perspective. It's kind of been a good mix for everybody. It seems more games decided on the court and less by the referees, and I think that, to me, is what makes the game a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah, I've gotten to watch a couple of them. It's been pretty entertaining. So the yeah, I don't know what Purdue's going to do, but
Well, you know, they're gonna go back and try and put it together. I think that, you know, they maybe exceeded expectations all season long. And I think it's not necessarily what Purdue's going to do. I think it's what the tournament selection committee is going to do, because how do you say that these guys were one of the top 4 teams in the country and they lose to Fairleigh Dickinson, who, I mean, I understand that they're decent this year. Pedigree of the last, you know, every year before this just isn't there. And then you have, you know, the UCLA Bruins still just mad as hell about their seeding. And who knows how that's going to play out. What if another number, I mean, you know, we're in the round, you know, 32 teams. You look at any ranking system, or, you know, we could rank teams ourselves and you say, what are the top 32 teams in the country? Man, there's no easy games left anymore.
no. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, Houston and Alabama are, you know, arguably the top 2 teams. You know, they could both lose. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, because they'll have to, Houston will have to play Miami in the Sweet 16, so they're going out right there.
Yeah, or today. I mean, it's like there's no easy games left. So
because Miami's going to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
This is our year. Got the team. We got the team. We got the coach.
Yeah.
Well, Houston's got a great coach. I mean, they got a really good coach. But, you know, without Sasser, I like our chances. But anyways, what do you got cooking for today?
Well, I was going to look at the Utah Jazz Boston Celtics game. Utah's got a real big advantage in terms of rest. They've been off since Monday. You know, it's not often an NBA team has, you know, that much time off, but that's what Utah does have. And then you take a look at the Boston side of things. Boston's playing their 3rd game in 4 nights. They played last night, so they're unrested. And the Jazz are now 56-31 ATS at home when rested, and playing an unrested foe. That's off back-to-back wins, provided Utah wasn't favored by double digits. So that bodes well for Utah. They're also a home dog. Utah's always been strong as a home dog, but especially lately. They're 38-16. Their last 54 as a home dog, including 8-0 ATS this season as a home dog. So I just think this is a good spot to go against Boston. Boston in the midst of that 6-game road trip. Boston's 8-19 ATS off back-to-back road games, including 0-8 ATS when priced between -4 and 5.5 points, which is where it is right now. So I'm going to take Utah plus the points.
Lost my screen, but I'll be back in a second. All right, here I am. Yeah, I like Utah plus the point, 9-0 as a home dog, right? Against the
I have it at 8-0, but you know, depending on your numbers, it could be 9-0.
Yeah, I guess it always goes by the number, right? That, you know, everyone uses a different number, whatever. I have it 9-0.
Yeah.
But against the Eastern Conference. So the Celtics, it's kind of like what we talked about earlier this season. Will it hold up playing like this with no defense? And it hasn't. Jazz, I think it's been more of a bigger surprise for me, though, because I thought, that this was a team that clearly packed it in by trading their superstar players.
They did. I mean, yeah. I mean,
Walter says the dog is barking.
I know. He wants his breakfast. So we should I'll just say what I've got going on today at Pick Dogs before Walter begins being really loud.
All right. Well, what do you got going on, Al? I know it's a big day for you. It's Saturdays, always are, but every day is, right?
Yeah, I've got 10 plays, one in the XFL, one in hockey. I've got my NBA conference game of the month. I've got an early game that goes at 11 a.m. Eastern in the CBI. And then I've got 2 strong triple packs in college basketball. I've got an early triple pack, which is a mixture of NIT and NCAA. Excuse me. And then I've got a late college basketball package as well, which is all, NCAA tournaments. So pretty strong card today on this Saturday.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us as always. It's been rainy in Southern California these days. So
Are you in Vegas now? Where are you?
I'm in Vegas. So if you want to feel like jetting out, come on over, watch some games.
I wish. Do you go back on tomorrow night, or when do you go back?
Planning tomorrow night. I don't have a return ticket, so I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I like to play better.
That's
hang by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
Bugs the crap out of people.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow, Al. Let's have a big day today. Al McMorty, one of the best handicappers in the history of handicapping, and someone who's on track to catch him, Jovan Burtz, our yearly leader on the board. He's been on the leaderboard since the day he got to Pick Dogs. How's it going, Jovan?
It's going, judging from my nighttime plays that I had out there, not so good, but looking to bounce back for today. The day game's been good, the nighttime not so much.
Yeah, for me it was the opposite. I did well at night, but the day games got me. I don't know. It's March Madness, so it's like you have to take the good with the bad.
Now, for me, it's just been, the selection, because I had the winners and I took those off, for like yesterday, case in point. I took it off for a couple of losers I had no business even touching, and I, after the fact I knew it, but hey, it is what it is. Like yesterday, I had a couple of NBA plays that I wanted to touch, didn't pull the trigger, all big dance. So should have kept off those later big dance games. So
I did the same, and I think I added a couple plays that I had no reason to put in, and instead, So today is a different, it's far from over, so we still got plenty of time to clobber the books. What do you got cooking for today? I know you're going to look at one of the big matchups. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, it's always going to be a big matchup.
I got follow-up questions for you about a couple of these things too, because one of the coaches involved in this game, Oates, had some interesting comments during the course of the game against Corpus Christi, where he acted like his team was down by 35 points and they were up by 20. It's like,
well, I'm running the audible on this one. I'm not going to touch on that game, but we can touch.
I thought you were gonna do that one.
No, I know, okay. But I had to scratch it. But unless you want me to talk about 2 games, but I'll touch on it.
No, that's all right. It's okay. We got tons. Believe me, tons of games and a lot of people that care about a lot of games. So I'm fine with it.
So we're gonna go to another big game that I think Well, I think it's a big game. It's the Auburn-Houston game, so it's an SEC team involved. And I'm gonna roll with the over in this one. These are two teams where I think styles make fights, and with this matchup, you have two teams that like to go up and down the court, play at a frenetic pace, and Auburn, they just don't want to play in the half court set against this Houston team and their defense. They want to keep them on their toes. I think there's going to be a lot of transition points in this game. So, I think that both of these teams come out hot. A lot of there's going to be a lot of points scored in the paint, a lot of transition points, in my opinion. And I think that the refs are going to have no choice but to call a couple fouls early on either one or both of these teams. So that's going to, produce points as well. And if the game is towards the end of the game, you might have the foul game situation where a team is, down by 5, 6, 7, 8 points, somewhere in that range. And with 3 minutes left, they're going to want to foul, and there's going to be a long drawn out process. And, with the way this total is at 132, 131 and a half, 132 and a half, depending on where you're sharpening at, you're going to get there. So you might have to sweat it out, but I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to go over the total on this one.
So yesterday was unders all day long. So you think that the books are, they have to make an adjustment here. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, after we saw, St. Mary's and VCU play in the octagon, for the first half, and Iowa State, I mean, it looked like a carnival game, right? So in some of these where the ball, like even in the Xavier game in the first half, the ball's like halfway down the cylinder and popping out. It's like, I don't know what's going on in this tournament, but, the unders were ruling the day, but it just seems they're not the books, I mean, I'm here in Vegas and I can tell you right now, they're not just giving away money, so they're getting clobbered on one side. They adjust in a hurry, especially on a big event.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this Auburn team, they're not the type of team that plays to the under. They play to the over. 4-0 in their last 4 games to the over, and they're going to give up some points. That's just the fact of the matter with this team. So their whole thing is, for me, is I think that they want to, they don't want to get into the mud with Houston. Because Houston could play a high-scoring game, they could play a low-scoring game. They could get into they could win games in the 50s, or they could win games in the 80s. So this best suited for the Tigers, in my opinion, to play this to a high-scoring game. That's their only chance for them to outright Houston. Because if it's a low-scoring game, then that means they're scoring 40, 42, 43 points, and they're dead in the water.
It just seems that, in today's college hoops, everybody's good, and the tournament's always been a great equalizer because of all of the television timeouts. It allows the teams that have less depth to get the rest in. We see these teams that look absolutely gassed, come back miraculously and, get back on the court. It's like, but some of these coaches are going to be under fire for sure. Matt Painter, certainly going to have to hear about this for a long time. Tony Bennett, he heard about it last time. He came back and won the national championship when he was a 1 beaten by a 16. He won the national championship the next year. I don't know if Matt Painter is going to be so lucky because they don't grow 7'10" guys or whatever that guy is on trees.
Matt Painter, he has a long history of this. He's lost as a 3 seed. He's lost as a 2 seed, and now he's lost as a 1 seed. So. Hey, it's their style of play, really, for me. They had talent. What was it last year, where they had Ivy and other guys. The guy Williams, who was there for a long time. They've had more talented teams than this Purdue team, and they just can't get over the hump. Some other years in the past, they've gotten to the second weekend or whatever. But lately for them, it's been bad for them. So he doesn't have a championship to fall back on like Tony Bennett does. So, that's his problem.
So on the opposite end of the spectrum, for me, the coach, and it's, we're going to see some coaches get, hired for some big jobs out of the tournament. It always happens.
Right.
But to me, the story here is Pitt. Here's a team that was cast off continuously during the regular season, cast off, in the play-in, cast off Iowa State 4.5-point favorite. They were 3-7 in their last 10 coming in, and they beat the crap out of them. I mean, they let them claw back in. They put the halftime line out at Iowa State -4.5. Oh, they're going to come out. They're going to break. They came all the way back. They're going to come out and just steamroll them. It's like they allowed 4 points, through both halves, through the first half of both halves. It's like, how does that happen?
It happens because you're not a good offense. You run on your defense, and when your defense isn't shutting teams down, then you're in for a long night, and that's what happened.
You gotta give some credit to Pitt here.
And that's what I'm saying. Playing against a Pitt team who, they know how to shoot. Let's say that. And after their little rough road that they had a couple weeks ago, they took a step back in this time that, in between the playing, in between their conference loss and their playing, and they recalibrated. You got to hand it to Jeff Capel, and he's a good coach, and he doesn't really get consideration like that because he's been at Pitt for a while and they haven't had the success, but he's had success in other places. So
he's good to get respect now.
Exactly. I mean, let's not forget, most of the season they was a surprise team of college basketball.
But they went and they beat up Carolina. They're pretty good.
So I mean, listen, this is a good team, a good shooting team, and as long as they stay hot, they could go far in this. It wasn't a fluke that they dropped all those points on Iowa State.
No, it was no fluke. It was no fluke that they were shutting them down on the other end.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like they deed it up. Well, you're number one for the year. What do you got cooking today?
So I have a early 3-pack that's going up for the early plays, and then I got a 5-pack for the rest of the night. I got 7 plays in all. Also have some other 3-packs that's going on later in the night, prime time action. All NCAA tournament action in this one. After yesterday and all the winners I had in the NBA, I'm gonna take a step from the NBA and not put anything out. I'll wait till tomorrow to put out some NBA, because sometimes with the association, what you find out is if you fail to pull the trigger and you ran it up against the book. Because personally, I put in the bets. I just didn't put them in as premiums. You got to take a step back because it could go the other way. So Sunday I'll have some NBA action, but as for today, it's all college.
All right. Well, Jovan, proven winner, and like you said, had trouble in the late game, so he hasn't really strung together a lot of losses over the years. So probably not a bad place to land. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'll be here.
All right. Got Rod Zawacki up next. He's been the hottest recently. He's been really stringing it together, and I've been, jinxing him all I can here, saying, just every possible way, talking about it all, every inch of the way. Rod's like trying to not say a word. He's like the kicker on the sideline that no one wants to talk to, and I just keep bringing it up. So, Rod, how's it going?
Going good. Another good day yesterday, and definitely can't complain. It was 2-1 for me in the morning games and 2-0 in the night games. So thanks to FAU and their nice little last second comeback there and getting the win.
I was with you on that one in the
we were that close on Jay's to hit our parlay in the afternoon there. Lakers got us. Of course the Lakers got us.
How'd you enjoy being on the jam session?
It was good. We went over quite a bit of games and definitely gave out a bunch of winners. We gave out the extended line on the 76ers at 14.5. We knew they were going to pound the win yesterday. We could have extended it even more, but we'll take what we did. So it was a good time. Got out some nice winners there. Let's get some more winners today.
Oh, what do you got going on today for us?
We're going to go into the association here, and we're going to look at the Raptors in Minnesota. And Raptors been pretty hot rolling into this one. And you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves here, and sure, they are on the back-to-back, but they've been playing pretty good hoops themselves. You look at them on the back-to-back, they're 5-0 ATS off of 0 days rest. And this Raptors 5-0 ATS at home in their last 5. So something's going to give there. You look at the first meeting, and Minnesota got the win. It was close, a couple point difference there. So I kind of lean to Minnesota in this one, but we're going to go with the total. I like the over here. You look at the Raptors, their last 3 averaging 121.7 points a game. Minnesota 123 points a game. And both these teams, just Minnesota last 3 to the over. Raptors 6-1 in their last 7 to the over. And I think we got track me in our hand. It looks like the Raptors have ditched playing a whole pile of defense like they normally play, and just play these track meet games and snagging wins that way. Change it up. Let's take the over here, Minnesota, Toronto.
There we go. Anyways, yeah, for this one in the 7 free picks, I gave out Raptors first quarter. Raptors are 9-0, right, in the first quarter.
Roll
10-0. 10-0 in the first quarter. In the last 10, it's home favorites.
Yeah, they've come out hot. Do I think the Raptors win this one? I don't know. It's just a little too many points. I liked when it opened at like 7.5, and now it's up to like 9.5 in places. And I know Minnesota's on the back-to-back, but they are 5-0 ATS. I don't know if the Raptors can blow them out by 10. So I like the over as the better play. Definitely track me in this one.
All right. Well, in March Madness, what team is surprising you the most? And, outside of like the Fairleigh Dickinson winning a game, like what team, that maybe has a chance to really go somewhere? Like, is kind of a dark horse for you.
Well, for me, we know my dark horse. They're a little bit under the radar. As I like Gonzaga to keep rolling right along. I'm like, they have a tough task to get to the Final Four. You're gonna have to beat some tough teams coming up, but
horrible cover team. Horrible cover, but
horrible cover team, but they get the win, right? That horrible cover, they got it. They had the cover yesterday, and they just take their foot off the gas. They're like, we just want the win. We're not here to win by 20 or 30. We just want the win. So I
maybe not having that pressure of being the number 1 seed and the number 1 overall and all that other stuff, because after the first round, that doesn't even matter. So it's like maybe not having that pressure. I thought that all along, that maybe this could be a year that they make some kind of run. Makes a lot of sense. I think we got to give credit to Grand Canyon for really wanting that cover yesterday, though. They could have easily not covered in that thing, and they really wanted that cover.
They did, yeah. They definitely did. That was their Super Bowl, because they definitely reeled them in lane. It was like,
they're like, we can cover here. We can do this.
Right? They could have easily took their foot off the gas and went, this game's over. We're done with it.
Like, you know what? We're not going to cover, and it's not going to be the first time we didn't cover. But it's like, they're like, you know what?
If we're not going to win,
might go out, but let's go out on a cover.
Let's burn some people's money. Come on, let's go.
How about the teams in 2 situations yesterday? There were 2 games where the team that was losing had the ball with a lot of time left, like over 20 seconds, had possession of the ball. It was 1 point to the under, and they dribbled out.
Twice. And dribbled out, right?
Twice.
What? Yeah, right.
The losing team, 1 point to the under, dribble out twice.
And dribble out. Yeah, you don't see it.
You don't really see that during the regular season. They always hoist. If I'm on the other side, they hoist.
Someone's hocking a 3. Someone's hocking a 3, and you're on the under.
On the other side.
No, why are you hocking that?
Yeah, exactly. No! Right?
Yeah,
no! But it's like, I don't understand. It's like the dribbling out, but
or you were talking about the ball coming out. That one, that buddy was taking a free throw, and the ball lipped out and then just stopped on the rim at the top. I think I've seen that once before in college hoops. It's like, what the? Lips out just stays there. Bloop. A couple times, I think we seen it yesterday, a couple days ago too, where it was like, what the? Definitely been fun. Definitely been enjoying the action. That's for sure. After we got snubbed that one year, oh my god, we were so excited and now we're coming to do it. I love this hoops action.
All right, well, what do you got for sale today?
I mean, over at Pick Dogs Premium today, I've got a couple 3-packs in college hoops. We were nice 4-1 yesterday. 3-2 on the first day, nice 7-3 to start the big dance. Let's continue rolling. I got an early 3-pack. I got a late night 3-pack. In that late night 3-pack, my $15 college basketball swoosh is included in that package. And then I have an NHL hat trick. Always a loaded card on Saturday in the NHL. So 3-packs over at Pick Dogs Premium. Your best bet, grab my 3-day pass. It's cheaper than buying all these packages individually, and definitely got lots of action over the next 3 days to make your money back for you. So jump aboard my 3-pack. Best deal going over there. Or use that 220 capper deal. You can't go wrong. 2 heads is always better than 1 when you're heading into the March Madness. Some might be the same, but some might not be the same. So definitely jump aboard. Plenty of us hot over there. We
have Craig in the comments, and he was in the sports book yesterday with me, and he came to Vegas with his wife for their anniversary, coincidentally, right during March Madness. You gotta respect that. It's like, all right, we'll have our hours couple massage. I'm going to the book for 9 hours.
That's definitely a keeper. You know, she's
I'm gonna go hang out with Mitch and generally bet parlays for 9 hours
on your anniversary, right? Nah, she's a keeper. She's definitely a keeper.
Mitch and his magical stack of drink tickets. All right, Rod. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one. Good luck with all your bets.
Rod Zawacki, top of the daily leaderboards. He's been up on the weekly and monthlies for a while now. Bringing Ron Romanelli, last but not least, Mr. College Basketball at Pick Dogs. He is our celebrity handicapper. He's going to need to get the diamond crusted shades for the next thumbnail, you know, and the big license plate that says Ron in diamonds and gold.
Don't make me blush. Don't make me blush.
Big, thick gold chains, you know, and the bling.
How you doing, Mitch?
Good, man. It's a lot of people out here in Vegas appreciating everything you've done and helped them out on the jam session all season long. Of course, baseball rundown, the original, coming back in just a couple, 10 days or so. Yeah. Edwin Diaz missing the season because he was jumped on by brother. I don't know. What do we do about this? Because they're not going to let this happen again, right? So no more celebrating, because this is not
no more celebrating. No, I mean, you know, they changed where, you know, walk-off home runs used to, you know, Kendrys Morales jumped on the pile and, you know, tore his ACL and was out for the season. So they kind of changed the rules.
It was never the same player.
No, never. But, you know, these are, you know, people remember them because they're significant. You know, Edwin Diaz, the best closer in baseball last year. So you're going to remember the big injury like that, but they just don't happen enough to where I would say, you know, no more celebrating and no more World Baseball Classic. This could happen in spring training, even though they're not jumping up and down. You know, these guys wanted to play for their country. You know, I think the WBC shouldn't be moved to a different month or anything. I think it's, you know, fine the way it is, but people just got to be careful. It can happen to anybody, but it doesn't have to happen to everybody. So, you know, it's really disappointing. Obviously, I love watching Edwin Diaz pitch, and the Mets are going to really miss him. You know, at the end of that bullpen, they already have a few injuries already now to start the year. Brandon Nimmo's banged up in spring training. Jose Quintana got banged up. So the Mets, you know, they're struggling injury-wise. But, you know, I don't think the baseball needs to change anything. I just think players got to be careful.
Worst injury to a reliever, this one or Joel Zamaya's Guitar Hero injury, the career ender.
Yeah, those are always the tough ones when, you know, like the firework incidents and just like when you're a fan of the team and you learn that one of your best players is out because of some, you know, crazy
Guitar
incident.
Hero.
Yeah.
He got injured playing Guitar Hero.
Yeah. It's just tough.
What is that? But anyways, it's been a great March Madness so far. I mean, you know, it's had everything. This is what makes March Madness what it is. We've had the biggest of big upsets. I think the Fairleigh Dickinson upset over Purdue is the biggest upset in the history of college basketball.
Yeah.
It's up there. This is this is bigger than the UMBC over Virginia, especially because you look at the pedigree of Fairleigh Dickinson coming in and all these years of, you know, being fairly disinterested. And
they won 4 games last year. They had a new coach. This is a completely rebuilding year. Like, you know, D2 players. They played the weakest schedule in college basketball. This was not supposed to be a tournament team, let alone a team that wins and against the 1 seed. So it's definitely got to be the biggest upset in college basketball history, and it's got to be up there for the top upsets in sports history. You know, just unbelievable. You know, give credit to FDU. I don't know if I like their chances going forward. You know, FAU is a really good team, but give them credit for that one big win.
I thought the Furman shot was just so money.
Oh,
you know, I mean, you could talk about the way they threw the ball away. I thought the FAU shot was so athletic. I mean, he just went above everybody and just dropped it in. There was no blocking it because the ball was just straight down. But you know, I thought that the shot by Furman is being lost in the shuffle over, you know, the bad pass.
I got chills on that shot, you know. And
but
I didn't even have a game.
Money. It was just so money.
Just like unbelievable. I didn't even have a pick on that or anything. I had Virginia in my bracket, but I was still rooting for Furman to hit that shot. Once I saw that turnover, I go, make it. Just that's what March Madness is all about. I mean, those shots and those moments. Great game. We've had a couple of great games. That FAU Memphis game last night, you know, it went down to the wire. I think Penny Hardaway is, you know, I think he's a great recruiter. I don't think he's a good leader. I don't think he's a good coach. I think that Memphis was the more talented team. FAU wanted it more, and that showed in the final score. You know, 18 offensive rebounds. We saw Memphis taking technical fouls, arguing with each other on the bench. They lost that game. Memphis should have won that game, in my opinion, just with the way that they played on the court. Kendrick Davis had a really great game, and so did Williams. But, you know, this is what March is all about. These mid-major schools that nobody expected FAU to be a 9 seed in the tournament at the beginning of the year. But here they are now. They have a great shot at, you know, a double-digit favorite now to make it to the Sweet 16.
Absolutely. They're just super athletic, been underestimated all season long. You know, and in some spots, maybe rightfully so. You know, the UAB game, the second meeting where they lost to UAB, right? So, but, you know, outside of that, I mean, this team is just, they haven't gotten a lot of credit all season.
No.
You know, they've been a good value team. So what do you think about Craig taking his wife to Vegas for March Madness for his wedding anniversary? She said, honey, we're going to John George. She said, I can't find that parlay bet on my ticket.
That's the place to be for an anniversary. I mean, there you
go. He's like, is that a prop parlay that I've got on my ticket somewhere? Because I can't find that one. Shuffling it like a deck of cards, looking for a ticket.
Yeah, no, that's the best. That's a dream for a wedding anniversary.
But I think she had a good time, and she politely told me she's sick of my voice. She said it in the nicest way. I'm sick of your voice. But anyways, got tons of action going on today. You want to give everybody another free pick. I mean, give them out every day in the jam session and the rundown. What do you got for today?
Yeah, I'm going with Southern Utah over North Alabama. You know, I just think this is a double-digit win for the Thunderbirds in this one. We see a North Alabama team that just does not play much defense at all. They rank 316th in adjusted defensive efficiency. They don't force turnovers, and they've got one of the worst perimeter defenses in the country. And you got a Southern Utah team that scores points in bunches. They get to the free throw line. They're a decent shooting team, but the big thing is they play at a really fast pace. So for a 40-minute game, you know, North Alabama is not the slowest team either, but for 40 minutes, I don't think that North Alabama can keep up in this game, especially at the neutral site. And when you see North Alabama, I don't like taking teams in any postseason tournament, whether it be the NCAA tournament or anything, or the CBI NIT. that are limping into these tournament games. We saw North Alabama lose by double digits to Kennesaw State, and then lose by 9 to Jacksonville State at the end of the regular season, and then they lose by 73-48 in the first round of their ASUN tournament. So they're not in good form going into this game. Southern Utah is the much better team, in my opinion. They had a couple wins in the WAC tournament, so I like the way they're playing. I'm going to lay the points here with Southern Utah.
Yeah, so it's Southern Utah, obviously in a conference that you like a lot, and the ASUN, we know these are guys you just simply do not like. One of those conferences. So I don't know, not a shocking choice there for Ron, but I thought North Alabama played pretty well in spots this year. I do, and I know you don't like the conference, but
I like the ASUN.
They beat Ole Miss. They beat Ole Miss. Right? Didn't they?
I don't mind the ASUN. I think there's some good teams in that conference. I would say I think the conference that's been the most overrated this year is in the Big South, and we saw that with UNC Asheville. So, the ASUN's got some ballers. Kennesaw has had a great year. Liberty.
Kennesaw played well against Xavier. I mean,
Yeah.
they did. They fought the good fight. I thought that Xavier had one of those first halves where I just don't know how those shots didn't fall. It's like they were inside the hoop, right, and rattled around inside and came out. Like I've seen, you see that once in a while, but it just seemed like a carnival game, like the oblong hoop where the ball just can't go in. It just looked like that because they're going. And then how about the adjustment of the hoop during the Iowa State game, where they set people out with a ladder to measure it because the shooting was so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they were so bad. They came out with a measure. It looked like Hoosiers, right? They had the guy with the ladder and the tape, and they're like adjusting things. It's like, wait a second, this is supposed to happen before the game starts.
I know. Yep.
It's like, what if they found something? What did you start over?
Yeah. I think you would just have to scrap the game, right? If it wasn't up to standards, you can't play that.
I don't know. I played Xavier in the second half of that one against Kennesaw, strictly because I thought the rims would look super tight, on the Xavier end, that the balls was rattling around and Kennesaw was going to be coming back down that end. And, I cashed it on the second half. I thought, I think that the tournament, at least the first round generally, is really good for those halftime bets because a lot of these teams come out, they don't have the depth, so they're probably going to run out of gas at some point, but they come out hot, and you see Baylor down by a point against a team that has one win over a top 100 team all season long, and they're only laying 6.5 in the second half, and it's like, oh my God, it's like, everyone's in line for book. Just get out of my way. It's like I'm coming through and I got a backpack with me.
And it goes to show, coaching in college basketball is so important. And these big time coaches and, the names we always talk about at halftime, they make adjustments and it just looks like a completely different team. So we'll see that plenty of times. It's more so, like you said, in the first few rounds, because now when we get towards second weekend, we're going to have good teams and good coaches against each other. So this is why, why we watch college hoops. This is always the fun games.
Yeah. I mean, the NCAA tournament, the NIT, the CBI, regardless of which tournament you've gone to, this for the teams is a celebration of the season.
Yeah.
And for us, this is a celebration of our season, and just, and everything that we've done, it all comes down to these games. And it's like, these aren't new names to us and new teams we don't know and, players we haven't seen and any of that stuff. These are the same guys we've been seeing all season long. It's just fun to see some of these guys that we've seen against maybe not the same level of competition. Can these guys play against them? Like, I think that the center on Princeton, it's like he has another, one of those names. I don't know what it is, but it's the center on Princeton. And I didn't watch a ton of the Arizona game, but he's kind of like a mini Giannis, right? He's just
that's what they say. He plays. He honestly
kind of does all the same stuff. He's really good, and to see that it worked against, Arizona, it's like, maybe this guy can play at the next level.
Yeah, no, he tries to mimic his game after Giannis. I can't even come close to pronouncing his name, but his first name is Tosan. So, yeah, he's from England. He's just he tries to mimic his game after Giannis. He can do it all, and he had a great game against Arizona. I mean, there wasn't a lot of points up for grabs in that one, but he had 15 points himself. So, it'll be interesting to see what he can do against Missouri, who's, they're a team that not a lot of people are talking about. They not a lot of people gave them a chance in that Utah State game, and now here they are, 7-point favorites to make the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Gates has done a tremendous job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
unbelievable.
He has done none of the numbers. This is you're a numbers guy. And Missouri's just a team where you look at the numbers and they just don't add up to the record, right? It's like,
no, I mean, this is a team that
nothing there. It's like,
I mean, they're one of the worst rebounding teams in college basketball, and fundamentally, it just like looks rough. But they're a great shooting team, and they get a lot of good looks, so they're winning games, and they force so many turnovers defensively. So, they're not very efficient on the glass. They're the second worst defensive rebounding team in the country, but they manage.
Yeah, it's going to be a great next couple of days. And, my Canes don't play until tomorrow. They're playing Indiana. For us, these are the ones that we live for. We get shot at a blue blood in any sport. These are the guys that tell us constantly that we don't belong. So, we get a crack at them. For us, it's kind of like some of these little guys that, hey, can we get one crack against these guys? Because we know we would play at a level now that they don't want to play us anymore, and so we get a crack up, kind of like when Dayton or when Dayton gets a shot at Ohio State, where it's like, we're 10 miles away from you, you won't play us, but when you do, we're gonna treat it like our Super Bowl, and I expect the Canes to come out like that tomorrow. Anyways, Ron, what are you selling today? I know you got your bank shot breakdown. Took me a full season to get that one. $15 play. And then any other picks?
Yeah, I've got an early winner on the board. Starts at 12 o'clock, and I got my bank shot best bet as well as a 3-pack that's got a couple other plays in that 3-pack as well. So check it out. So far, the first 2 days in the first round, we had winning days in both days. So looking to keep going and having a good college basketball season overall.
All right, so I have a question in the comments that we're going to close out the show, but I have a question here in the comments for me. If I have one big dog to play on the money line today, who is that going to be? And I say, hear me out on this one. And I know it's against a team that you don't like, so maybe you'll agree with me. Southern Indiana against San Jose State.
Oh, you're going to CBI there. I agree.
It's there for a reason. It's there for a reason.
I agree with you. I think that's definitely worth the money line play.
Right? It's like, I love San Jose State. I've been on them. I've been on the bandwagon, last year.
Tough road trip.
But this one, this Southern Indiana team that no one's ever heard of can shoot the three like no one's business.
Man.
Like,
they haven't heard of them. And you know what? San Jose State going from California to Daytona Beach, Florida, not an easy trip.
Nope.
So I think that the value you're getting, I mean, I would just take the money line rather than take the points, because if San Jose State wins, I think they're probably going to win by a pretty good margin. But Southern Indiana, they get hot from the perimeter. Both teams kind of rely on the 3-point shot.
I did the video on this game, and when I look at the games, I look at the card. I always kind of just look at it and I say, I like this one, this one, this one, this one. Then I go under the hood and it's like, you know what? This is a different game than I thought it was, right? But I always have an opinion when I first see the matchup. And this one I see San Jose State versus Southern Indiana. I'm like, what? It's like San Jose State, no problem, And then I go under the hood and I'm like, they might be in trouble here, And it's like, before I know it, I'm doing Southern Indiana on the thing. We don't even have the logo in house for the thumbnail. We got to go out and get one,
Yeah.
Like,
well, San Jose State, they're a team that takes a lot of tough shots, and they can because they've got Amari Moore and some really good shooters on the team. But because they take so many tough shots, they miss a good amount of them, but they're really good on the offensive glass, so they can get those second chance looks. But Southern Indiana, they're a very good rebounding team. They're top 60 in offensive and defensive rebounding. So if San Jose State's not getting those second chance looks, and if Southern Indiana heats up from three, they're top 50 in 3-point shooting, that could certainly be an upset win here for the Screaming Eagles. So, yeah, I think the money line price. I don't know what you're exactly getting there. Do you see a money line price?
Let me check.
Probably like 350 or so.
I'll definitely get one. Hang on a second.
300.
It is plus 350, plus 355.
350. Okay, yeah. I'd take the 350.
I see some 335s. So in that range.
Any chance to fade Tim Miles' group, I'll take it.
All right. On that note, thanks everyone for joining us to make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you. And go Canes, baby. Start tailgating now for tomorrow.